Welcome back to the Everything Food Podcast, where we break down the good, the bad, and the ugly of how food shapes our lives. Today, we're joined by Ginger Mae Brown, the heart and hands behind Sunshine's Treats to Eat, a dessert brand built on joy, creativity, and the belief that sweetness can be healing. From custom treats to community events, Ginger is proving that desserts isn't food, it's connection. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, how's it going, Anthony? Thank you for having me.
Everything's going sweet. Thank you for being here. It's a privilege to have people to accept to come on. So it's I can't just the happiness of having people come on and share their story. So give us a little bit. Who is Ginger Mae Brown?
Ginger Mae Brown is a young girl who grew up in the OTR, originally born in Georgia. Parents came to Ohio, I was about 3, and coming from a mother who loved to cook, and she would, always try to put me and my sister in the kitchen with her, and I was resistant. I was resisting it. I didn't want to be in the house. I didn't want to be cooking. So I didn't want to have anything to do with the cooking or cleaning or any of that. I just, that was just not me, and it took me a long time to want to do it, maybe when I got to be like in my teens and, watching my mom just prepare meals for the family and how she just made it look like it was so easy, but I guess
So effortless.
she just, she just loved to do it. And she told me one day, she said, you got to learn how to cook because you got to learn how to survive. I'm not going to always be here to show you these things. So just take notes, And she never wrote any recipes down. So you pretty much had to watch her do everything and memorize it. So that's one thing I could say that I did get from my mom. I did learn all her recipes. And fast forward, I became a mother. Now I have to cook for my children. That was the lesson she gave me. Because if I didn't learn how to cook for my kids, how would they survive? So fast forward again, my kids are adults and they're off on their own. So now I'm kind of like, what do I do with myself besides work and go home? And I just decided to just get in the kitchen one day and I just baked a cake and I posted it on social media. And all my friends, it was a strawberry crunch cake.
So was that the moment you realized this ain't a hobby no more? This is something I can kind of, I could put my teeth into. And with that, what was some of the struggles? When did you like just started doing it or did you formally announce it to people? Because I know I went to family and friends and I announced it and people laughed at me and we were almost at fist fights. So
mine was actually the opposite. I would host events at my house and I would just lay out all these spreads of things. And I had a cousin come to me one day and say, Ginger, your presentation is on point. You ever thought about opening a business? And I kind of shucked her off because I was like, I don't have time in the day for this. This is something, if I do a business, do I have time? Am I going to be too tired when I get off my real job that pays my bills? Right. And so it stuck in the back of my head. And about a year after she said that to me, it kind of came back to me because I had moved into my house and I hosted a housewarming. So I made a lot of desserts, a lot of treats, and I got a lot of good feedback off of them. And so one day I just made a cake and I said, well, if I'm going to launch this business, I have to make something that looks presentable to put on the page. So I made a strawberry crunch cake. And when I tell you, I got off of Facebook and went and did my normal stuff, get ready for, cook my dinner for, the night, get my, clothes ready for work, shower, whatever. And I came back on the page because it wasn't even named Sunshine at the time. It was just a backup page. Right. It was just a backup Facebook page. And so I seen it and I said, oh my God, it was so many notifications. So many people were ready to order it. And I remember the first girl who actually asked me to order it is one of our childhood friends. We all grew up with her. And she said, I want to order that cake. Can you make it? I said, well, I haven't even cut this cake. If you want, I can just deliver this cake to you. She said, can you? And I delivered the cake to her and her family devoured it. So that's how it really kind of launched. So I just had to like visualize what I wanted to do, what I wanted to call my business page, and how would I incorporate more, customers, or is this going to get off the ground.
Right. How can you streamline it and make it make sense to the people you're trying to attract? So, and that comes into, so you built a website. I mean, you just had a Facebook page. Now you got to get a logo, contact info, and hope it all makes sense.
I had to create like my business card, how I wanted things to look, and I started just investing in myself. So basically I spent money before I even made money. So it was, it was branding.
You got to spend money to make money.
Branding myself and asking people what do they like about it. I even posted like little mock-ups of my business card, and I got the input of people like, hey, does this look, how did this look? Then I went to the advertising, what I would get hats and shirts made, and ink pens, and passing them out, and and just making samples and giving them to my neighbors on the street. It just grew from there. It just took off. And I was getting overwhelmed because I was like, wait a minute, now slow down, everybody, slow down, because I'm only one person and I do have a full-time job. I go home and throw my...
Well, that's the part that's kind of funny and I think scary for people in entrepreneurship, because most people who are entrepreneurs have a job, and it becomes that turning point where you got to decide, choose between one of them, because the business sometimes can take off. Your personal business, your entrepreneurship business can take off to the point where it can fund your lifestyle if it's done right, if it's placed in order. But if you hold on to the job for whatever reason, 401k, dental insurance and stuff like that, a lot of times you have to give that up as an entrepreneur, because the business is taking off. The money is coming, the recognition is coming, and things like that. So that's kind of where, for you, what was the hardest part of being an entrepreneur, and that people don't see?
The hardest part is they don't see the behind the scenes of, you have to shop for a lot of things. If you're making multiple things, you have to order things off a website. You have to wait for them to show up and come in. Things can get delayed. It's a lot of wear and tear on your mind, mentally and physically, on your body, because you are standing a lot. You're woke. You're not getting the proper sleep because you're trying to meet.
You're up at 3 o'clock in the morning,
trying to meet a deadline, and just packaging things up to get them out and keeping them in order, inventory, as far as how much you have to spend out of your pocket to get things, and delivering,
not overbuying, not underbuying.
So I mean, it's a lot, and it looks good on paper, and it looks good when you take a photo of it and you post it, but that's just the still shot of it. So now once I close that camera, now I got to be like, oh, I got to get everything out the door.
Right. Because if you post something and you get another call and we need 50 of them, but you had something else planned, that goes out the window. Or not necessarily out the window, you got to combine the two, because people are counting on you because you posted this business. And I know it's rough on bakers, because I've been in situations with commercial bakers, and you can't be in the kitchen with the baker. If we coming in at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning to set up for lunch, that baker is leaving. We're tapping hands like in wrestling, because they're leaving because they've been there since 3. Because with the baker, if I'm cooking a quiche and I throw it in the oven and I'm with other cooks, they can make a mistake and open that oven and look in and go, oh, no, it's quiche. But as a baker, they can't open that oven because it'll fall, And the thing, again, with chefs or just home cooks in general, you could season things to taste and, throw a little bit of dash in here. But with a baker, that stuff has to be precise. If the recipe calls for a cup, it can't be a cup and a quarter, cup and 3/3. It has to be precise. So, that end is rough in itself, just the production part, and then the promotion and the marketing as an entrepreneur. So,
so I'm doing multiple,
was there ever a moment?
I'm doing multiple positions. So
Right.
So
you the marketer, you
you know,
the
yeah,
shopper, you the
I've
pastry
had so
chef,
many people
you the
tell me,
you
they say my hat's off to you, like my family, or like a lot of people tell their story and say, well, I don't get support from my friends and family. And that's the opposite of me. That's always been the
okay.
opposite of me. I've never been able to actually post and say, my friends and family don't support me. My friends and family are who made me who I am today, for continually to put me on the map. I'm on the timer.
Right.
Yeah, they put me on the map, and they continually support me. Like, I don't have to worry about losing business because I've gained so many followers and new customers, and I've had to even like actually turn people away sometimes, and it hurts me because it's like, but it doesn't be on just my end or their. It's sometimes it's short notice, and I can't cover
Yeah.
a lot of short notices, and you
Hmm.
can't have a bleeding heart in this business, like, and just want to take on too many people or try to overload your, workload. And then,
And chase the money.
yeah,
You
just,
chasing
yeah,
the money and you making
and
mistakes.
all my customers will tell you it's never been about the money. I've always said
Right.
that in this business, it's been about the passion, and I love what I do, and I put my heart into it. And I always take feedback and criticism from people that, or if you're going to spend your money with me, I don't want you to just buy it just because you want to buy it, just to say, hey, I bought from her. And then down the
Right.
line, you don't like it or something about it that just didn't fit right with you. You have to tell me that so I can know how to make it right for you. Or if I can't make it right for you, then I would just have to say, well, either I credit you back your money, or I'll try to make you
Yeah.
something else, and just to fix it, because you don't want to walk away and have someone feeling disappointed because you just really
No.
just.
Because that one customer will tell another
Hmm.
customer who will multiply into six people who possibly was looking at you and wanted to use your
Yes.
services, but heard through the
Hmm.
grapevine and trust in the voice of a friend. Hey, the situation I had with her wasn't right, wasn't good. The food tastes good, bad. She was late. She was unprofessional. She had an attitude. So, a lot of that plays, you have to walk it with a different mindset as an entrepreneur. But as much as I've heard positive, was there ever a moment where you said, you know what, this is it, I'm done. I don't want no more.
But the back to my, what I was saying. This business has always from the beginning been a godsend. Like, even with through I went through the COVID era, where I had COVID really bad in my.
Mm,
So I was to the point where I really couldn't do my business. I couldn't work my regular job. So I was down for a couple of months. And
mm,
it just made me look at things in a different perspective, because once I got over COVID, all my customers literally lined back up. Like soon as the door opened back up and they knew I was healing and getting stronger and better, they was like, "We here," you know. I
that's
mean,
what's
because
up.
there's multiple bakers in this city. They could have just migrated to. I've had them say,
Yes.
"Well, I ain't gonna get my stuff until you get better." If I have to just wait 6 months, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna support you. And it just tugged at my heart, and I was so emotional. I just like, God, why me? What is making me this person, and why you chose me and giving these
Why
great
not you?
people. I know. And I say, I stop questioning, and I say,
Yeah.
God don't make no mistakes. And he's given me some wonderful people I've met just through social media, who've messaged me. And this just became, from the beginning of my business, they became lifelong friends. I've had people that has been like repeat, I call them repeat offenders. They just continually keep coming back, and they give me advice like, I've watched you grow so much. Like your presentation's always been great,
Mhm.
but to see your skills be sharpened, and you pay attention to details, and you're not gonna put just anything on your page. You're gonna make sure that I said, well, I think that's my bad part about me, is I'm a perfectionist, I guess I could say.
To be a baker, you gotta be a perfectionist. You got to be. You can't throw a pinch of this and a pinch of that in there. It's you traveling, it's hot. You might have some desserts, what they call the cupcakes with the icing. You gotta be careful because they could tip over, they can dissolve in the heat. They could do some food is weird.
In
but
my
let me ask
stages, that happened to me. So like I said, I have learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I did my homework on how to find insulation packages and
they could dry out on you.
Keep coolers and ice and everything. Like if I knew I have people now I'm working on do you? So, that's the next thing that I'm marketing. They want to ship things that I can say once it gets to them, it's not going to look like what it looked like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I got a tip for you because it happened to me. Dry ice.
That became my best friend too. But this is all in the beginning of my career. I was doing it. It's just nobody tells you nothing until you learn from your mistakes, until you find out and ask questions, or because I try to stay on these different baker pages where people ask multiple questions. And it's questions that you would never think people would ask on how they can do things. So you get a lot of advice from just other people's, just telling their story of how they did something and how it got done. And like I said, I'm open for all advice.
Because I remember my first meal preps. I think the lady ordered 25 meals, and I put them all in styrofoam containers. I didn't know any better. Of course, I graduated to, plastic with snap tops and stuff like that, sealed, and even further than that, BPH free, that when you microwave them, it don't give off the bad gas. But okay. Now, where do we find Sunshine Treats to eat? Do we go to social media? We got a web page?
You can find me on all social media platforms. I have actually 2 Facebooks. You can look under Sunshine Treats. I have a Instagram under Sunshine Treats. I have a TikTok, and I have a Snapchat. So once you start typing in Sunshine Treats, it's going to come up, and you're going to either see my logo or you're going to see my name. And then one of them, you'll see maybe my face, like a picture, like a profile picture. And you can also Google me. And I also have Venmo, where I post a lot of my desserts on Venmo and Google. So you can look at some of the desserts and treats on Google as well.
And can we order from these sites?
You can order from the Venmo, and you can order from the Google site, because it'll take you right to my address and phone number. So you can message me there. You can leave me a message on any of the platforms on social media. They're all linked together. So if you just follow the instructions on how to message me, it'll take you right to me.
So when I look, I can see a selection of items and then reach out to you and order pickup. So is it pickup or delivery or both?
I do both, mainly because of the hours that I'm doing a lot of things. It's easier for the person to pick up versus me delivering, because if I'm doing multiple deliveries, I can't get all of them done at a certain time. So
but it's easier for them to come to you
to pick up, because it would make it be easier for me to just stay in one location, and they can just pick up, like you're going to the bakery to pick up your order from them, and you can just stop in and I'll be available for you to, you just have to give me your time frame of what time you can pick up, and I'll make it convenient for you to, to be there for you.
Now, you had some type of community collaboration with somebody or something, didn't you?
Was it something? I don't think something recently, but
yes,
I do. A lot of people reach out to me for to do pop-ups and vending in areas that I normally would see if my schedule is available for them. But I do collaborate with a lot of different people for party events and, hosting things for them. Right now, I'm so busy with just taking in regular orders that sometimes I can't even, accept a lot of invites to things. So It just
That's a
depends.
good problem to have.
It's great.
That's a
Yeah.
good problem to have.
Yes.
Anything new coming down the pike that we should know about, or you want to save it until it actually hits? You don't want to open the cat out the bag.
Yeah, I have a few things lined up, and there's going to be a lot of new things. Like I'm offering a lot of people, if you subscribe to my Sunshine Treats page, there's like promotional things that regular followers, that if they're not subscribed to my page, that they will not be able to actually intake and be involved in, because that's just to help my business grow and to also give back to people who have been loyal customers to me. So if you subscribe, then you'll get to see all the juicy details of things coming down the pipeline. So
I better get on there and subscribe. All right, we got a big thanks to Ginger Mae Brown for bringing her light, her story, and her sweetness to the table. Sunshine Treats to Eat isn't just about desserts. It's about joy, resilience, and community. Stay curious, stay hungry, and keep questioning everything food. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
I appreciate
we got to do this again, and I need to come past, and I need to place an order. I got you.
I appreciate you, Anthony, and you have a great
No
weekend.
problem.
Friday.
You too.
Talk to you soon.